we're sitting in a circle outside and the light is coming through the trees and you're seeing the light come through.
Mm.
And you're feeling the kaleidoscope of love, of the great love coming through as each of these people are coming with their love that they had for my daughter. It's an amazing way to witness the love that your adult daughter, your child, shared in life. And they each get up and speak, and I can just see the great love shining through their eyes and through their hearts. And as we're all, sad, but also joyful to have known this great being.
Welcome to the Light the Day podcast, where we explore spiritually transformative experiences. I'm your host, Julie Clough, and just a reminder to like, subscribe, hit the bell if you're listening on YouTube so that you receive the notifications, and leave comments below. Our guests really appreciate your comments and your feedback. So thanks for being here. And today I have Kristin Miller with me. Hi, Kristin.
Hello. I'm
I
so
am
glad to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. We met a few months ago and through a mutual friend, and I'm excited for you to share your story. It's a challenging one, but it's a beautiful story as well. So, will you share a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll go back and take a look at your story.
Yeah, sure. Well, I am a long-term psychologist, and I've been in practice for almost 40 years. And my practice has always focused on helping people who've experienced pretty intense trauma, either interpersonal trauma from abuse or trauma from living in through natural disasters or being migrants and having to move in and out of different territories for survival. And yeah, and I'm really interested. I've always been really interested in how people can have the resources that they need in order to deal with pretty traumatizing events,
Yeah.
like abuse and all the things that traumatize us. And I've also been on several international humanitarian committees um, to develop really quick energy psychology techniques like tapping or havening or heart breathing that anybody at any age and any circumstance can use to come and meet their emotional self in a way that there can be some calming and some nurturing.
I love that. And you're going to share a little more of that with us.
I am, and yeah, I'm going to share a little bit more. And in my newest baby, which was born a long time ago in my life when I was a little tiny girl, but my newest baby that is growing into fruition is this really deep connection with what I call great love. Um, but it's that experience of being held by the universe, by our people, by love itself.
Mm.
That sort of experience where we can all rest back into and know that whatever the difficulty is, that we can be surrounded and supported in that difficulty.
Mm.
And so and it's gotten a pretty good test the last couple of years. This
Yes, it
entry
has.
into great love has gotten a pretty good test for
Yeah.
me. And it's the only way I think to survive the difficulties that I've been through.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to, I'm sure everybody listening, watching, would agree, but just your calming nature, you're just like this. There's a very beautiful, calming experience. Just listening to you talk, listening to you share, and what a beautiful way to meet someone who has gone through tragedy, who has gone through, um, like you said, trauma.
Mhm,
And yeah, I think it's wonderful that you've been in that space and you've been so helpful to people. But then you met your own trauma and your own tragedy. So take us back a little bit and share what
mhm.
happened.
Yeah, I'm just now, probably for the first time in 2 years, able to speak about it with a gentle clarity.
Hmm.
Um, and so I I had a beautiful, almost 31-year-old daughter, Emily Grace. She left her last name behind a few years ago, and she just became Emily Grace.
Hmm.
And in August of 2023, 2 years ago, she passed away unexpectedly. Um, and it really, I don't know. I have sat on the other side of the couch with so many people who've lost their children.
Hmm.
And I've been there, and I've been there with love and compassion. But I don't think I knew really what this would be. And I'm sure it's different for each of us.
Hmm.
But for me, it was like a shattering.
Hmm.
It was like my actual being kind of cracked apart. Or, they talk about this broken heart. Um, I guess for me, I couldn't. I don't think you could know that until you've lost a child, and so it just kind of move you through the story because it's a fascinating experience for me as a therapist.
Hmm.
It's a fascinating experience for me as a human
For sure.
to have this experience and to, I mean, it's like it was just wrenching, and at the same time, it was beautiful all at once. It's like it's for me, it's been like a journey right into the heart of love itself,
Mm.
because we have all these things around our hearts. We should be this way, and we should be nice, and we should be together, and this is what a compassionate one looks like, and they're patient and they're kind and they're, do you know what I mean? We have all these expectations. So we
Hmm.
have a lot of hiking gear around our hearts. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And we're out there boldly hiking, and we're gonna help people until all of a sudden all the gear is broken. Do you know what I mean? And the heart itself is broken. And the only thing that is left is the unifying force of compassion or love. The only thing that really binds us to our human life is love itself. The
Hmm.
only thing that is going to escort us through the grief process is love itself. And I use the word love because when we talk about spirit or God, that alienates everybody.
Hmm.
But love is central to our humanity. And its love is central to all of our relationships, everything that we care for and are here, and all the beings we share our life with. Love is something that nobody has never had an experience. That's a double negative. There's nobody that
Relate.
can't relate. And so, and love is what connects us. Love
Yeah.
with ourselves, with our children, with our deceased children, with our people, our planet, our animals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So as you're sharing this, like, having gone through the experience of losing children, I know how impossible, like literally impossible it is to share what that experience is like. You cannot possibly, I could never have imagined the experience before it happened. Like I could empathize with other people, but I couldn't actually, like it's like hearing about a foreign country, but until you go there, you don't really understand it, right? It is a foreign country. And so I'm just curious about, like, as you're talking, I'm almost hearing people say, well, okay, so how do you go from this place of being completely shattered to even allowing yourself to experience that kind of that greater experience of love?
Mm-hmm.
What was that
Mm-hmm.
process like for you?
Yeah, I think I'll just kind of tell you the story, and then I'll
Okay.
give you some skills at the end
Okay,
if I
perfect.
I can if
Yeah,
that will work.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, so it started with, I had a supercharged 31-year-old social worker daughter who worked with a great deal of fire on the streets in San Francisco and in New York City with the profoundly mentally ill who were unhomed.
Mm,
Um, and she was a scrappy, fiery street social worker, and she fought for the people. And there was this vitality. This was wanting to be on all the mental health boards, and do you know what I mean? And supporting the rights for the profoundly mentally ill, right up until the end. And then I got a call, and it was a call from her friends and said something is not right. And we called the police, and we went and visited her, and they're going to go do a health and welfare check.
mm,
And when they showed up, she had died.
mm.
And so the friends called me back, great friends I've known since they were like two. They called me back and they told me. And then, of course, there's all the coroners and medical examiners and all the things that you talk to after you lose a child. But we went from this vibrant, fiery being to a being who has no life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's gone. She's gone. And I remember getting the second phone call from her friends. Um, and just going and connecting with my husband. So here's the first peek you say about love, and wrapping my arms around my husband and just collapsing
Yeah.
and saying, she's dead. She's dead. And there's that comfort, there's that wrapping, there's that connection, and and there's that acknowledgement. But what people need to know is, in order to survive, in order for me to drive from Northern California to San Francisco and to take care of all of the details of shutting her life down because she didn't have a partner or a significant other.
Yeah.
That the cast comes up of shock. Like it's like the fog, the numbness comes up, and it creates this thick cast, which is absolutely necessary. Okay, there's absolutely no way I would have driven. I found out at 10:30 at night and I left in the morning at 8 a.m. Do you know what I mean? There's no way that I would have been able to drive down there to take care of the details without this cast. And so I welcomed it. I'm a therapist. I know about it. I never knew that it was quite this thick and quite this intense. And then of course, because her friends they're all connected all of their lives. Do you know what I mean? They're a part of our community. That all of my friends are parents of their friends. And so their parents, my friends, came over the morning. And here again, this is the love that's showing up.
Yeah.
So I probably couldn't feel it then because I was too numb. But they come with, one of my friends brought me dried mangoes and a little jar of yogurt and granola. And of course, I can't eat at this point. I'm thinking, I'll never eat again. I can't digest. I can't feel anything. My system is completely shut down. I'm thinking, I'll never eat again. But she comes and she gives me the yogurt, and another mother or friend comes and gives me a hug and brings me an offering of food. And so they're packing me with these little love offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get ready and I drive down. And at one point I was actually able to eat a tiny little bit of the yogurt. Do you know what I mean? And I feel, sorry, somebody came in. I feel this, that nurturance, a little bit of nurturance. And then I get there and I pick up my older daughter from the airport, and there's my 1.5-year-old grandson, and she's pregnant with my second one. And he says, "Hi, Grammy."
Mm-hmm.
And so reaching into the numbness is this great love. And I wanted to tell that story because each day my daughter and I did the hard. Do you know what I mean? We took down the apartments. We went to the medical examiner's office. We met with her work. We did all the things that you have to do at the time. And each night we'd come home and my grandson would say, "Hi, Grammy." One time Michelle was scrubbing and she's singing at the top of her lungs, and she's very pregnant with her second baby, and the baby's jiggling around, and we just both laughed. And sometimes we just collapsed into each other's arms. One night after we did everything, I was rubbing my older daughter's back. The connection, the love, the willingness to touch, and she's crying, and her 1.5-year-old son is on the floor playing. And she raises her head up in the middle of the crying and she says, "It's okay. Mommy's just having big feelings right now." And you see, that's the touching in. That's the touching in. That's the holding. And I remember as we went through the celebration of life, I should say, because there was a work celebration of life in San Francisco, a friendship celebration of life in San Francisco, that friends from all over the world came for my daughter. And then, of course, there was a local community celebration of life up in Redding, where she grew up. And I remember the one time in the celebration of life up here, we're sitting in a circle outside and the light is coming through the trees and you're seeing the light come through. And you're feeling the kaleidoscope of love, of the great love coming through as each of these people are coming with their love that they had for my daughter. It's an amazing way to witness the love that your adult daughter, your child, shared in life. And they each get up and speak, and I can just see the great love shining through their eyes and through their hearts. And as we're all, sad, but also joyful to have known this great being.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the ceremony up here in Reading, a deer and her two fawns swam across the lake and
Wow.
came into the circle um, during that service. Do you know what I mean? It's just a beautiful, like this diamond with all this light coming in from different aspects. So here's the showing. It's like okay, this is the great love that shines through all of us individual hearts and the knowing. And then there's the retreat. Do you know what I mean? All of that is done. And then I'm a therapist. I support my family. I'm a trauma therapist. I support my family. There is having to go back to work. Do you know what I mean? Having to listen to people's pretty intense pain that they experience, helping them to process that. And so I felt myself like develop like a cast, like a solid, the first several months back, it was the only thing that was possible. Do you know what I mean? To like have a kind of pretty solid cast around myself. So I still am empathic and I have a lot of skill as a therapist, but I had to keep my emotional self blocked off. And that happens for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
not just me. But it's particularly true if you have to listen to other people's pain. I had to keep my heart cast off.
That makes
And then,
sense.
as you well know, Julie, um, the cast then breaks.
Yeah.
The cracks are there, and oh my God, the cast started to break around Christmas after that. And do you know what I mean? And it's like then outbreaks this great emotion. Do you know what I mean? Like heart rendering emotion. Like people said to me that you had physical pain with this. Do you mean it? There was days that I felt like I was having a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like the heartache was so severe. Like sometimes my lip wouldn't be able to stop tremoring. Do you know what I mean? Like it would just kind of tremor, and then the feelings would come out in times that were uncontrollably. And so, and here's the great energy psychologist, do you know what I mean, trauma thing. And I am tapping, but I'm tapping as a weapon, you know. Make this feeling go away. I can't stand this. Do you know? I'm not actually saying this, but do you know what I mean? Like I wanted everything not to feel this,
Mm-hmm.
not to welcome this. So I'm using like my energy things almost as a weapon to get it to go away, anything. And then I remembered, oh, the only way that you get through grief is to welcome it, to welcome the emotions, to be centered in love, and to soften to that. Now, I am hard headed, okay, and I am not actually hard hearted, but I'm hard headed. I am gonna, I'm gonna be stoic and I'm gonna be okay and this is gonna be fine. And so when they came in, the feelings came in, they were crushing.
Mm-hmm.
But as the feelings came in, there was a softening. And I remember the first softening when I finally started to get, oh, I've got to surrender. Do you know what I mean? I've got to welcome these feelings and I've got to welcome whatever love is here. I remember this. It was on Mother's Day, the first Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so by this point, my body is hardly working. I'm moving really slowly. I don't have any energy. It takes so much energy to hold back those feelings or try to force them to go away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going for a walk on Mother's Day. And I had lost my mother, my own mother, 2 years prior to the death of my daughter.
Oh, wow.
So it was just a little bit less than 2 years before the death of my daughter. So I'm walking on Mother's Day and I'm just walking so slow you can't even imagine with my dog. And it took me 5 hours to get to a trail up to this creek thing that in normal energy, maybe an hour and a half. Okay, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Probably I could do it quicker than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking and I'm getting more and more relaxed. Do you know what I mean? And more just having to let go into the tiredness and the grief. And all of a sudden, it was like great love just took me. And I could feel, and it's not like a spiritual experience. It was like being held all over inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel the love that my mother has for me, and I could feel Emily's love. And I just walked and I started to absorb, to fill. The cast started to soften and fall away. I started to welcome the grief, but also the love. It was too painful before this
Mm-hmm.
to even remember how much I loved my mother and my daughter. I couldn't even think about her as a little being that I nursed, that I patted, that I kissed her little toes, that I do you know what I mean? I couldn't even have sex access to that because the grief was so painful.
Right.
Or remember being close to my mom as a little girl and having her kiss my little toes. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't access that. But as I went on this walk and I finally got to the creek, I could feel it. I could feel the great love. And then this journey back to the heart of great love, back to the center really of what it means to be a human and to be alive. Um, I started to soften, I started to soften, I started to soften. Do you know what I mean? And all along, this love was holding me. Both the sort of transpersonal love, the love that my mother and my daughters still hold. Do you know what I mean? Even though they're not embodied. But also the love that all of my beautiful friends have held me in. My friends have been circled around. They hold me in a field of love. They have done acts of kindness. They've checked in. Um, Nature holds me in love, and I've just had to relax enough to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken me a couple of years. And as we go fast forward, that tender surrender into love gave an opportunity then for me to welcome my feelings, to welcome the terrible sadness,
Mm-hmm.
to welcome sometimes the anger. Do you know what I mean? And the break and the physical pain, and to welcome it. So then I could use energy psychology not as a weapon, but as a way to soothe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I love and accept myself with all of this grief. You know, to come to meet, to welcome that in. And as I welcome that in, the the intenseness of the grief has become less and less. The grief I don't know if the grief will ever go away. Do you know what I mean? I suspect not, because I think grief in its purest form is just the dance of love. Because when we love, we experience loss.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It's part of life. Loss, death is a part of life. And if we love and we love until the very end, do you know what I mean? And then we continue to love and receive love after they're not in a body, it still hurts, but we're okay.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah, it
still
feels like these um, meeting points of birth and death are these meeting points where, and I love the way that you use that term, great love. They're meeting points where we are met by great love. They're
yes.
meeting points where we're reminded of
Hmm.
great love, where we have the opportunity to bring more of that experience, more of great love into our day-to-day experiences moving forward, even beyond the experience of birth and death. It's really fascinating to me.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I think birth and death really, really gives us a chance to pull that veil
Yeah,
between an embodied experience and a non-bodied experience of love.
absolutely.
Because at birth, the veil is open up. This beautiful, amazing being becomes established in a body. And it's just pure, and it's like that great joy and love when that being comes in, and we just experience the ecstasy of just that pure love coming in. There's no conditioning, there's no supposed to's or shoulds, it's just pure love. And then for me, except with when my daughter died, I've always I've always worked with hospice patients, people who are on the dying route. And when I would come and visit them, oftentimes in their home, sometimes in the hospital, the curtain would start to open,
Yeah.
and it would start to open, and it would start to open. And sometimes I would go into somebody's house, and all I could experience was this profound feeling of great love. Like the whole spiritual world just is so happy to welcome them back into their fold. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Welcome them back in and say, "Oh, there you are." And I would love to be with my people when they were in that that transition phase, because then I would get to be on the other side with them, or I would get to have a taste. And
Hmm.
I've always had a pretty deep sort of meditation practice and curiosity about this great love. Like how can you experience that without being on the other side of the curtain? Do you know what I mean? Without, how can you experience it and embodied? And so I've had a practice since I was a tiny little girl, and have been fortunate to experience that a great deal throughout my life. And that said, I was so surprised. Now, it was a sudden death. You know what I mean? I was so surprised that that was not accessible at all when my
Hmm.
daughter died.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I still had all of my friendship connections, and all of the people that supported me, and of course great love was there too, but I couldn't feel it. All I could feel was the loss.
Yeah, that was my experience as well.
and with all of the experiences, I was so surprised. I was so surprised. And I was so delighted because as we've progressed, I've been softening and softening and softening. And it was so great. It was so wonderful. This summer, July, just before the second year of my daughter's death, I went to a meditation retreat, integrated restoration, or iRest. And it was such an amazing experience to be able to be in, to be met with this great love, to have it grounded in my being, and to have the grief flow so fully and purely simultaneously. It was like this dance. And so like we're in yoga positions, like traditional yoga, like at the yoga, and I am leaking from head to toe. I am leaking. There, everything is snotting. I had piles of snot rags, and I'm completely connected and held in great love simultaneously. It was just an amazing experience. And that's how I knew that I'm probably ready to start to talk about this healing process. Do you know what I mean? Because there's enough about, because this is life, right?
Yeah.
Life is this is life. This is my life. My life is that I lost my daughter. And how do we meet that life? Do you know what I mean? How do we let love itself hold us in that life? How do we navigate these really difficult experiences?
Mm-hmm.
So that was in it. I have to tell you that it's not easy, but it is the whole coming around when great love can be there, no matter what you're experiencing.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Challenging and beautiful.
Challenging and beautiful. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And you come to this from a deeply personal experience and also a professional background that gives you some language and understanding of your experience, which is so valuable for
Mm-hmm.
those of us who are holding space for your story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. What are some of those techniques, those things that have allowed you and that maybe you've seen it allow other people to really access that inner peace, that inner love, that space of healing?
Mm-hmm. Well, my favorite one that I've practiced officially for many years, but unofficially probably since I was a little girl, is what I call heart breathing. It's actually adapted from heart math, which is a very large training program that really helps you to develop heart coherence. And in coherent states, we are coherent states are like the experience of love or compassion, um, welcoming, acceptance. Do you know what I mean? Non-coherent states are reactive states, hatred, um, anger. Do you know what I mean? They're not coherent. They shake the system up. They're not integrating. They don't hold us together. And that's good. It's good to have anger, but it's good to meet anger from a coherent experience. So I've been
Mhm.
all of my life. And so I use heart breathing, and you guys can do it with me. I put one hand on top of the other in the center of my chest. And I really encourage you to do this on an ongoing basis before you have a great tragedy, because we are trying to anchor your heart in love and compassion. So as you breathe, you can breathe either in through your nose or out and out through your nose, or in through your nose and out through your mouth. It doesn't really matter. But I want you to breathe mostly with your intention focused on the area around your heart, like you're breathing in through your heart and out through your heart. And just notice the actual pressure of your hands on your chest and maybe some warmth. And breathe in through that pressure. And I've done this in emergency rooms during COVID with staff who've lost several patients in an hour. They press in and so they can feel that warm pressure, and they breathe into just that felt sense of that pressure of their hands on their chest. And then I just want you to think of somebody that you love, a place in nature that you love, an experience that you really, really enjoyed. And just pick one and breathe into that felt sense of that experience. What happens in your heart or all around your body as you think about whatever experience that you choose? Like sometimes I use my grandsons and that, hi, Grammy. Hi, Grammy. And I get this warm, relaxed feeling in my chest, and I breathe in through that and out through that. And just anchoring myself in the felt experience of connection and love. I'm getting to know the territory of love itself. Now, it can come through thinking about your dog licking your face, or any personal experience of love. Okay, because we all have personal experiences of love. There's something or somebody that we love. But as you cultivate this felt experience of love, do you know what I mean? You really sink into it. You really feel into it. Oh, what's that like? That's going to open up your heart to the non-personal experience. What I call the great love always comes through us through our personal conduits. Okay, but as we soften into that actual experience in your body, and you start to become anchored in that, you'll experience an expansion into this great love that can be awesomely great. Do you know what I mean? Like, it can be like so expansive, it's like being held by the universe itself. And so it's just a really simple practice, but it starts to anchor. And then we always finish with thinking of something you're grateful for. Okay. And it could be, just the other day, I was sitting on my porch meditating, and there's this little hummingbird who just loves to come and sit right in front of my flaps, right in front of my third eye, if you will, or right in front of that, and just looks at me and flaps. I open up my eyes, and there it is. It's about, maybe 12 inches away. And I just feel such gratitude that that creature attends to me. And then I breathe into that feeling of gratitude itself, being so grateful that we are alive, being so grateful that I got to share 31 years, almost 31 years with my daughter, Emily, being so grateful that I have two living daughters and I have two beautiful grandchildren, being so grateful. And those are thoughts, but I'm actually feeling into that heart space what gratitude feels like. Because we want to anchor in the actual felt experience, not just in the motions of love. So that's the first thing. And if I could preach to anybody, which I'm you need to cultivate this felt experience of love and joy and gratitude, because this experience will sustain you when difficulties happen, because it is the only force that is universal across all of humanity.
Yeah. I love the emphasis on the felt experience. It's not
Yes,
just thinking about it, it's like allowing that feeling, like what does that feel like? And allowing that feeling to just be there, to feel it, to experience it. Like if you're remembering a happy memory, it's bringing in that memory and feeling it all over again, just experiencing that all over again. I love that.
absolutely. And it absolutely has to be felt in order for your body to heal.
Mm,
It's like I always tell this story. It's like going to the physical therapy. Do you know what I mean? Let's say you have a broken arm, you need to go to physical therapy to strengthen up the arm. Okay, after the break heals. Okay, you could talk to the physical therapist all day long, and I promise it won't strengthen your arm up. You actually have to do whatever physical therapy exercise that they're going to do. Do you know what I mean? You actually have to go, you have to do it. And you could talk about your joyful event all day long. But unless you feel into it, it won't do very much good.
yeah. You know, one of the things that's coming up for me as you're talking about this is this in our culture, we're so distracted. We're distracted by entertainment, we're distracted by technology, specifically our phones. I'm guilty of it too.
Me too.
And this what you're explaining requires us to take moments of stillness. It requires
Absolutely.
that.
To take moments of stillness and to really tune in. What is this experience inside of me? Not just in the storyline on Facebook,
Yeah.
but what is this experience inside of me? And that's the second thing that has been really helpful. Okay. When you don't use energy psychology as a weapon to push your feelings away, to get rid of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To try to make them go away, to try to be better now. You should be better now. You should be okay.
That's a challenging piece in the middle is this
It,
the shoulds, the shoulds. I should be
the shoulds.
doing better than
I
I
should be
am.
better than this. I da 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 da. When you don't use energy psychology techniques to do that or anything to push away, and you first welcome love. Do you know what I mean? Love and support, and create that, and then you make time You're not going to want to do this. It's easier to just stay distracted and busy. To sit and to welcome the feelings. It's easier if you welcome them one at a time. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm so sad. And just being with the sadness. But that won't happen. It'll all get crossed up.
Mm-hmm.
And welcoming means that we actually feel the feeling. Just like we welcome in the experience of great love, we welcome in the retching experience of grief, the pain in our heart, the anger that we have. Do you know what I mean? But that actual visceral experience. And then we can use a skill like energy psychology. I'm going to just run you through tapping real quick.
Okay.
We're going to use the TTT profile from the Peaceful Heart Network, which anybody can access on their smartphone through Self-Help for Trauma app. It's a free downloadable app that's in, 39 languages.
Wow.
And they have a havening and trauma tapping technique,
Mm-hmm.
evidence-based technique for the management of trauma and stress and big emotions, big feelings, like my daughter said. And they can absolutely download that there. They also, all of these energy psychology techniques are available on the Resources for Resilience website, R for R, energypsych.org, I think. And finding recovery and empowerment from abuse, the FRIA.support website. So they have videos and everything about all kinds of energy psych and energy medicine tools that you can use to welcome your emotions. I promise you nothing will work if you're trying to get rid of emotions. Welcoming grief especially, it's like the most precious, beautiful child that is sad and it needs connection. It doesn't need to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to be told that it's wrong. It doesn't need to be told shape up or ship out. It needs to be welcomed, felt into. And then just do this with me. Think of an emotion that's been hard for you, or it could be an experience that's been hard for you. And then just notice what resonates in the body, what you feel in the body. It might be, I don't know, I felt a great deal of stress this last week trying to manage too many things. And so and the stress is a sticky feeling like in my adrenal area, my upper back, right above my kidneys. It's like a burning sensation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it could be a part of grief. It could be just a sadness or a deep longing to be connected with the person again, or a missing. Sometimes I miss so much the actual sound of my daughter's voice. I can have the sound of my daughter's voice in my mind's eye, and I can experience her energetically, but it's not the actual sound of her voice in life. So then I tune into that missing. And then you just tap. So you're just breathing, just like with heart breathing. You're just breathing into that actual sensation. You're welcoming the emotion. No changing, just welcoming the emotions. And you tap on your eyebrow, welcoming that emotion. Saying, oh, there you are, my friend. You don't have to do it cognitively, of course, or even have any words. You're just feeling into it. Welcoming my stressed out adrenals underneath the eye. Welcoming that deep sadness. Welcoming the remembrance of touching or holding your child. Remember that feeling of deep connection when the last time that I saw her alive and she laid her head on my shoulder. I can still remember that feeling of her head on my shoulder. Underneath the lip, welcoming in whatever emotion is there. Welcoming in the great love. Underneath the collarbone. And we sometimes, if you have, sometimes I do all the fingers down because sometimes we don't have very much time. And so if you just tap all over your chest, you're getting all of the sort of acupuncture meridians. So they use acupuncture meridians paired with emotions to help that emotional energy to flow better. Mm. And so I tap all over my chest, and maybe this is all I have time for, is I acknowledge maybe we're going into a meeting and the big feelings come up. And instead of holding our breath and shutting down, we breathe into it. We tap. And then we go into the meeting and we pretend like everything's okay. And then the little finger. And the fourth finger. And we're just, I'm just talking a little so that I can give you guys a little bit more knowledge. But when you would be doing this on your own, you would just be tuning into that emotion that needs to be met and welcomed. And you're just in the middle finger and you're tapping. And the first finger. And the thumb. And then underneath the collarbone. And just all over the chest. And you take a deep breath, you stop tapping, you take a deep breath right into whatever that emotion is, welcoming it again. And then we probably won't take the time to go through this twice, but they do recommend that you stay attuned to that felt experience of whatever emotion there is and tap through twice. And you'll see it if you go to any one of these things. You'll see the process. That there's videos, they're nonverbal videos that you can go through with somebody. Do you know what I mean? And so you don't have to you don't have to remember where to tap. You can just go through the process and attune to your emotion. And then my secret defense one is I do that. We did the heart breathing. And the back of the hand between the little finger and the fourth finger, this is my secret go-to. And I sometimes have to do this more than I'd like to admit. This is the triple warmer. And the triple warmer in acupuncture meridians is responsible for flight and fight, and shut down. And so when big feelings come up or a tragic event, our system either wants to push it away or get away or fight. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so sometimes I just put my hand on my heart, just the one-handed, and I tap on the back of my hand. And I just breathe into that pushing away feeling. And I let my heart know that it's okay for right now to just be with this feeling. Do you know what I mean? Whatever feeling it is. And I just give myself a minute. Like, let's say you almost hit somebody. Do you know what I'm saying? And you have that. And so probably not while you're driving afterwards, but pull over for just a minute and just tap on the back of your hand and just relaxing into that fight and flight and letting yourself know that it's over and you're safe and you're okay. So I do that all the time. Do you know what I mean? Because our system wants to push away big feelings. We can't believe that we can make it through this. I mean, I'm a therapist. I've done this my whole life. And I absolutely am just now believing that I am going to survive this and I'm going to be okay. Okay. I don't think the grief will ever go away, but I am learning that I am going to survive this. And I'm probably a better person because of this, because I know one thing to be true. The only thing that we can do is surrender to great love. And my third superpower is if something happens, you've got to connect with your people. You know, in all the traditions around the world, they talk about the congregation in Christian churches. They talk about the Sangha and Buddhist meditation. Okay, there is no way that you can do this alone. There is absolutely no way. There's no way that you can have a stiff upper lip. I mean, you can have a stiff upper lip and you can avoid and shut down, but I promise you're not going to make it very long and you're not going to be comfortable. You have to connect with your people. The people that are going to hold you through this, the people that are going to bring you food, the people that are going to remind you to eat when you forget to eat, the people that are going to pray for you if you believe in a spiritual source, the people that are going to call you up and just come over and give you a hug, the people that are going to cuddle with you, the people that are going to, I don't know, but that's your superpower. Okay. And
that's a wonderful reminder.
That is what is going to hold you together until the great love actually can reroot itself inside of your being. So the takeaways, I always have to say this, is anchor yourself now in great love. Take those moments of stillness. When you have emotions, welcome them. You could do tapping, you can do havening, you can do any myriad of things, and you can find them on all those websites. Welcome them, soothe them, pick them up like they're a newborn baby. Not say to the newborn baby, you got to stop crying now, stop it, stop it, stop it, or try to fix it. Pick it up, smooth it, connect with it, rock it back and forth, love it. And then if there is something to fix, you can fix it. Do you know what I mean? If there is something that actually has to change, fix it. But it is the comfort. And I always tell this story. My daughter, who is deceased, when she was, I don't know, maybe 5, I accidentally slammed her fingers in the car door. I had to open the car door. I had to open the car door to get her hands out. And there was a visible dent on her fingers. And so we just sat right in the driveway. And of course, she was crying. It hurt. It was terrible. And I just held her hands. She was on my lap. I just held her hand in my hand. And we just relaxed into the pain. We welcomed the pain. We welcomed love. I was just with her. And she cried and she sat. We'd done this a few times before. And then in about maybe 3 minutes, she stopped crying and she jumped up and the dent was gone and there was nothing
Oh, wow.
on the hand. There was nothing on the hand. And that was just us connecting, welcoming the feelings, and being there together. And I'm absolutely sure, 100%, that that's how she left her body.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It was sudden, it was quick, and she passed, and a couple of mediums said, including Julie, said she just went out the window
Mm-hmm.
and she was just fine because she knew somehow innately how to go back to great love.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Wow.
and it wasn't any different than that experience when I accidentally slammed her fingers in the door. And that's a surrender I'm really learning about. I'm really learning to surrender into this deep connection.
Yeah. Beautiful. Wow, you have stepped us through. I don't know that there's words, but you've stepped us through not only a profound experience and story, but a master class um in self-care, that word, that phrase is overused, and we but it is just a beautiful self-nurturing, I guess I would say. um just and the importance of paying attention to this now and not waiting until something challenging happens is taking a step away from the entertainment, from the technology, from the distractions of the world, work, all the pressures, taking that time to connect, to what we're feeling, to connect to what our experiences are, to like really embody what we're experiencing instead of distracting it away. And doing that now, wherever you find yourself in life, whether you're dealing with a tremendous challenge or whether life is looking pretty good right now, these are good practices to practice now. Kristen, thank you
Especially
so
when
much.
life is good. When
Thanks.
life is good, we continue to watch the movie.
Yeah.
But when life is good, if we take those pauses all the way throughout the day and really connect with what is that goodness inside of my being? How do I feel that connection? Then we have that ground that's there. So when life isn't so good, we don't have to look through all the trash to find it. Do you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, you're establishing reference points. I know that that was hugely important to me too, was there was this sense of remembering when things felt differently, remembering what it felt like to feel connected, to feel love, to feel gratitude, even if I couldn't feel it in that moment, I could remember and bring it back in to a certain extent. So, wow, this has been just really beautiful and fascinating. I'm so grateful for our friend Robin that said, Julie, you've got to interview Kristen. And I'm like, yes, I do. So, beautiful experience. Share where people can find you. What are the best places for them to connect with you?
Um, so I'm a website list person. So probably the best connection would be through email.
Okay.
And that my email is Chris John Mill, KrisJohnMill @gmail.com.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm sorry that's just how I am in the world. I don't have that. Um I don't know that there can be a connection through FRIA.support, but I'm on those humanitarian committees, and that we use FRIA.support website and Resources for Resilience website and Peaceful Heart Network websites, and I'm a part of those websites, but there's not. Peaceful Heart might have a way to connect, but that's the best way you can get a hold of me, is that way. It's just shoot me an email, and I love to respond to people, and I love to share experiences, and yeah, it's been great. It's wonderful to do this and to know that I can.
Thank you, Kristin, for sharing your wisdom. I sure have appreciated you being here today.
Thank you so much too. I love being with you, and I love to have an opportunity for people to learn how to connect with this great love.
Beautiful. Thank you.